Hello, everyone. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Number one, it's totally free. They also have creation tools that allow you to edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. How convenient is that? Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many, many more. So, what are you waiting for? You can also make money with no minimum listenership. It's time to get started. I want to thank you for tuning in to our podcast. I'm excited to have you here. The power of resiliency is within you. You are on the journey of pursuing your dreams. Looking back, I was a 14-year-old minor when I went to juvie. Then I was charged as an adult and found guilty of a felony. It is exhausting having to deal with a lifetime stigma of a 16-year felony conviction. In this episode, I am bringing you an extraordinary story. It is the first episode about a 14-year-old boy accused of a felony and treated as an adult. It's called Looking Back. In this podcast episode entitled Looking Back, I share a story about life incarcerated as a 14-year-old teenager, looking back at how I survived and made the most out of it being incarcerated. Looking Back is a podcast story on how I promised never to go back and swore to help youth in need of mentoring once released from prison at age 24. I never went back to prison or broke my promises. By looking back, I share my side of life growing up behind bars through this intro podcast. I was charged as an adult in 1995 at age 14 for attempted first-degree murder of a 15-year-old white boy. It was my first offense. I was sentenced to 16 years in prison by the state of Illinois. I did not have a competent lawyer, no money, and I lived in poverty. Hell, I didn't even know how to read or write. I was 14 years old when I went to the Edwardsville Detention Center until I turned 16. From there, I got transferred to the Illinois Youth Center, commonly known as IYC St. Charles. Because of the 16-year sentence, immediately I was confined to the hole. The hole is a jailhouse terminology for isolation confinement, or ISO, or segregation. This means you are separated from the general population. The Illinois Youth Center, St. Charles, has a non-public law that if you get sentenced to more than 8 to 10 years, you automatically go to the hole. This means you will either go to another Illinois Youth Center or be sent to serve your sentence in prison. Teens in custody are supposed to go through the process of social rehabilitation. They should be allowed to attend school, anger management sessions, drug counseling, or get help with other activities offered at the various youth centers. The youth are supposed to have access to educators and psychologists who help them with rehabilitation, obeying the law, and learning how to re-enter and live peacefully in society. I could not believe it. I lost my freedom because I was somehow found guilty of a crime I did not commit. Please keep in mind throughout this entire time, I never got a chance to socialize as a normal teenager. Youth are allowed to stay in the youth center until they turn 18, and in some cases 21, to complete their remaining sentence. I remained in the hole until I got shipped off to another Illinois Youth Center called IYC Joliet. I immediately enrolled in the GED program I had dreams of completing my college career inside the prison. Unfortunately, all of that came to a halt once I turned 17 years old. I had a court hearing, and the Illinois Youth Center, IYC Joliet, claimed to the judge that the youth division was overpopulated. I will be taken out of the GED program and shipped to the adult prison at age 17. This disregarding the educational classes in which I was actively participating. The judge and IYC staff effectively hindered my educational and social rehabilitation. This infuriated me. To make matters worse, I found out after I was transferred to the penitentiary, there was a 3 to 5 year educational waiting list. God forbid if I had to be transferred to a different institution or sent back to the hole. That process would mean I will be at the bottom of the list once again. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Until next time. If you like what you hear, please click to donate or simply donate today.